Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. It's wonderful to have you all here with us virtually. My name is Mark Ryan from DeakinCo, a division of Deakin University. I'm based in Melbourne. It's my very great privilege to introduce three colleagues of mine who are with us for the webinar. Ravneet Pawar, who is Deakin University's Deputy Vice President Global and also the CEO of South Asia. Glenn Campbell, who is DeakinCo's Executive Director and CEO, and finally Dr. Ashley Jones, who is the Chief Operating Officer and Head of Product for DeakinCo as well. Finally, we're very fortunate to have someone else with us completing the panel here. I'm sure he needs no introduction to many of you, none other than Mr. Paddy Upton, a former strategic leadership coach of the Indian cricket team, and he'll be giving us a keynote address a bit later on. Welcome aboard, Paddy. So over to you, please, Ravneet, to kick us off.
Thanks, Mark, and a very good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. This is indeed a very proud moment for us to work more closely with India. As you all know that Deakin University has had a very strong presence in India over the last 26 years, being the first university from anywhere in the world to set up a presence in India. We are based out of New Delhi with a staff strength of about 50 people. Currently, a lot of them working from home, but we are in the office, if this makes you feel any better, with 30% staff strength, and we are, sort of going all out to see what we can do to help this generation to actually engage better with industry and create, help you create your skills for the world of tomorrow. As you all know that we live in this world where norms are constantly evolving, and in this pandemic, it has made us think very differently. It's basically looking at a shift in our perspective. The unprecedented way is what we call it. In the education world, knowledge blended with skills will be the way to go in the future, and making students relevant for the future of work globally is a humongous task that no one institution or no institution can just do by itself, which is where I think that the main aspect of DeakinCo, which is a conduit between industry and academia, comes into this work play to see how we can contribute to the upskilling of students and the workforce. The ongoing industrial automation, economic instability, and COVID-19, my dear friends, has accelerated the need for essential skills capability. Educators are now enforced to emphasize on integrating professional readiness with that of conventional curriculum, as most new jobs will require higher level of skills. Activities like critical thinking, creative art and craft, decision-making, problem-solving, and ability to collaborate and communicate, along with a sense of responsibility towards personal as well as society at large to contribute good citizenship, is the norm. To be able to cope with increasing pace and change of present day-to-day requirements of the workforce, students need to learn and actually, I won't say learn, but I would say implement life skills, the capacity to manage pressure and disappointment, be more resilient, be more effective, and be, world citizens that you can be. So without taking much of this time, I would like to invite my colleague, Ashley Jones, to make the presentation on the Deakin Professional Readiness Program.
Thanks very much, Ravneet, and it's really lovely to be here tonight to be able to share in the launch of what we consider to be a very exciting program for both India and Australia. David, did you want to bring up the slides? So I guess I'll start with saying, why would you choose DeakinCo? Why would DeakinCo help you in India become work ready? As Ravneet has already indicated, we are part of Deakin University, a very well-renowned university around the world. And we're the conduit between both industry and academia. So we bring the rigor of a university, but we also work very, very closely with industry in order to look at the skills that are required going forward and the ways in which we need to be able to transform the workplace and the skills that you guys are going to need in order to be able to enter the workplace and be relevant within that workplace. How are you going to make yourselves different? So our mission is to help you with that, to help you prepare to work within organisations that are requiring the very best of breed, emerging and in-demand skills that are required not only today, but also tomorrow. So we've worked very closely in the creation of our programs, working with subject matter experts around the world in terms of the very different types of skills required. Lots of people talk about the future of work. It's here, it's now, and we need to be able to ensure that you can actually get together, work out how you're going to work in industry, and we've got your back ensuring that. So our courses, they're very contemporary: innovation, critical thinking, problem solving, those types of skills that you're going to be able to need to be able to make sure that you stand head and shoulders above the rest of the workforce, and also that you're meeting the demands of employers. So what does future-proofing your career look like? Well, it starts right here. We have short courses of 4 to 6 hours per course. That's what you need to commit to when you look at types of courses such as innovation, collaboration, data-driven marketing, financial literacy, customer experience, and of course, good old communication, which is pivotal in terms of being able to sell yourself as a future of work employee. They're 100% online, and our flexible self-paced online delivery means that you can study anywhere, anytime, and around all of your other commitments. So Deakin's Professional Readiness Program. We believe truly, having worked with industry and across very different industry verticals, that we can equip you as learners with the essential skills that are required by business to ensure future employability and workplace performance. Our courses offer the freedom to choose from a range of skills that will align your needs and your interests to the careers that you choose to undertake. And we provide the surety of a university that is ranked in the top 1% of global higher education institutions. What's to lose, right? I'm going to pass you over to CEO and Executive Director of DeakinCo, Mr. Glenn Campbell.
Thanks, Ashley. The world, it's really pleased and honoured to be able to bring this program to you. We've worked quite tirelessly for a long time now in making sure that what we are bringing to market are those skills and the information needed that does equip you for the future. For you, you'll be entering a job market that will actually have more job seekers than jobs. For you, those that have more than just the technical skills will be the ones that are best placed in that job market. And when I say more than the technical skills, I'm talking about those human-centered skills that Ashley mentioned. Things like communication, problem solving, teamwork or collaboration. They're the types of things that help equip you to interact with other people and also to respond to the technical and other changes that are rapidly changing our workforces at the moment. The job market that you're entering is one that is vastly different than the one that I entered at a time when probably most of you weren't even born. It's a very different marketplace. And in fact, it's even a different marketplace than what we had around 5 years ago. As I mentioned, we're really honoured to bring this program to you. And excuse me. What I'll do, I'll certainly be introducing you to our key presenter for tonight, who really does need no introduction, but I will provide one for you. Bear with me. Sorry. Can I just take that slide off the screen for a moment?
Yeah.
Great, thank you very much. The joys of technology and multiple screens. Let's pop that back up. I'd like to introduce our presenter for today, and Paddy probably needs no introduction to many of you, but for those of you that are not quite as familiar with Paddy, Paddy has helped coach the Indian cricket team to win the 2011 World Cup and to become the world's #1 test team. He then helped lead the South African cricket team to become the first to simultaneously hold the world #1 ranking in all 3 formats of the game. He's been coach in 3 of the world's major leagues, mental coach to over 100 professional athletes from 11 sports. He's also a professor at Deakin University here in Melbourne and the author of The Barefoot Coach, Life-Changing Insights from Coaching the World's Best Cricketers. Paddy claims that all of this is done to help support his surfing and fishing habits. Over to you, Paddy.
Yes, thank you very much, Glenn. And thanks very much to all the listeners and viewers who've tuned in today to come and have a listen to us. I'm going to spend sort of 15, 20 minutes today chatting. And what I'm going to do is really going to talk about, let me share my screen so we've got something a little bit more interesting than my face to look at. I want to talk about finding your A game and why find your A game. This is something that in sports athletes always talk about when we're approaching a really important tournament or a promotion relegation game or a World Cup or an IPL finals. The language is, guys, we need to bring our A game today. This is really when it's important to pitch up and to bring the best of ourselves to give ourselves the best opportunity for success. Now, it's interesting that in asking a whole lot of athletes in the last 2-3 months during the lockdown period, so what is your A game? What is this thing that we're always talking about in sports? And it was interesting that none of the athletes, and these are some of the best athletes in the world, just not just cricketers, but other athletes, they couldn't actually say what the key elements of their A game were. And the reason I'm really looking at this now is because I think now more than ever before in life, and particularly re-entering for a lot of people who've been in the job market and entering the job market for anyone who's entering it for the first time, it's more important now than ever before that we find our A game, we bring our A game not just to our work but to life, and that we execute on it as often as possible. And the reality is the people who do get to find and execute on their A game the most are going to be those who really go on to survive and then thrive through this. And people who get stuck, they don't find their A game, they get caught up in distractions and negativities and fears and bad habits and waiting for something to happen that's probably not going to happen. Those people, unfortunately, are going to be left behind. And I've written what for me has probably been my best work, a very exciting 6-hour program that a lot of top athletes or sports teams and organizations are going through at the moment. And what I'm going to share is I'm just going to pull a few pieces out of that 6-hour curriculum. And I'm going to talk about find your A game. I'm going to choose 3 pieces to share with you today. And the first one is the concept of playing to your strengths. Now, one of the things that's most consistent with all of the most successful people in the world, not just athletes, but people in any field, is they do what they're very good at most of the time. They play to their strengths almost all the time. And to illustrate this through one of my favorite stories, when Gary Kirsten and myself joined the Indian cricket team as coaches, Gary as head coach and me as the strategic coach and mental coach, our first assignment with the team in 2008 was a test series, a 3-match test series, India versus South Africa in India. And this gentleman on the screen in 2008 by the name of Virender Sehwag, he was in and out of the Indian team at the time, the test team. He wasn't a regular. There were some other people. He hadn't sealed his place. He had been picked for the first test match. And one of his major flaws at the time was he was what we call in cricket a compulsive hooker when people bowled a short pitch ball aimed at his head, meaning that he would impulsively play at the ball. And by impulsively playing at the ball, it's a very high-risk shot in test cricket. What almost all opposition will do to someone like Sehwag is You can imagine the bowlers bowling from there. They'd bowl at his head. Sehwag would hit the ball down to square leg, fine leg. They would all have two fielders, one at square leg on the boundary, one at fine leg, in cricket called the leg side trap. And they would bowl the regulation 2 bounces per over. And Gary Kirsten, chatting to him as his new coach, said, Veeru, why don't you try ducking under the bouncer? They're going to have got 4 very good fast bowlers, and at the time, Mackay Ntini, Sean Pollock, Dale Steyn, and Morne Morkel. The 4 of them were going to bowl 2 bounces per over. Every single over they bowled to Veeru. And Veeru's answer was, no, but if I keep ducking, they'll keep bowling it. But if I get better at the shot and I really get hold of them and I hit them for a few 4s and 6s, maybe they'll stop bowling it. And Gary said to him, Veeru, they will not stop bowling. You know it, we know it. Why don't you practice ducking under the bouncer? Your strength is attacking off the front foot. Your strength is not playing the bouncer. Veeru wanted to go in the net and get better at the shot that he wasn't good at. Gary said, why don't you cut it out of your game? Duck under the 2 bouncers. The other 4 balls you know are going to be bowled in your half or fuller pitched. Because of that leg side trap, those 2 fielders there, it means they would have to take 1 fielder from somewhere else in the field. It's most likely that they will take it from the cover region. That leaves a gap. You can attack 4 balls and hit 2 of them at least through those covers for 4. To his credit, Virender Sehwag said, okay, we'll try this. He spent probably 10 hours in that week practicing programming a new response to the bouncer, which meant unlearning his compulsive hooking and learning just to automatically duck under the ball. Veeru went into that test match. He ducked under every bouncer that was bowled. Of the other 4 balls that were pitched up, he would hit 1 or 2 4s. And anyone who can remember the first test match in 2008, India versus South Africa in Chennai, Virender Sehwag walked off the field at the end of the first innings on a score of his own score of 319 not out. And he did that not by fixing his weaknesses, but by playing all the time to his strengths. The story didn't end there. It wasn't just a once-off. He became a regular in the Indian Test team, and at the end of that year was so successful that he was announced the International Test Cricketer of the Year. And importantly, he did it not by fixing his weakness, but by focusing all of his energies on playing to his strengths. As you move out there into a very diverse job market with a lot of opportunities, it's important to understand what are the things that you're really good at. What are your God-given gifts, your talents you were given at birth, and spend the majority of your time focusing on those, because it is those that are going to deliver the majority of your success. The second point that I wanted to talk about, and I think a lot of us here will recognize this photograph. This was taken 2 years ago at Newlands Cricket Ground during a test match. That's a photograph of Cameron Bancroft's midriff with a piece of sandpaper in his hand. And this was taken from the television where he was caught sandpapering a cricket ball in a test match in Newlands in Cape Town, where my hometown is and where I'm busy speaking from. And as a result, in fact, what led to this was the Australian team was behind in that test match. They knew they needed to do something to regain some of the advantage the South African cricketers had got over them. And David Warner is normally the person who does the sandpapering of the cricket ball. Excuse me. He knew that the television cameras would be focusing on him. He knew the South African players would have told their television crewmen, please focus on David Warner at a certain time because he's going to be sandpapering the ball. What David Warner did in the change room at a break, he coerced, or probably a better word is he bullied a young player who was new to the team, who really was wanting to impress. He wanted to do everything to help Australia win. He certainly wasn't going to say no to a senior player like David Warner. So he just went along with it. He took the sandpaper out onto the field. He got caught. As a result, Cameron Bancroft got banned for 9 months. David Warner got banned from holding any position of authority in Australian cricket for the rest of his life. And both Warner and Steve Smith got banned for a year, and Steve Smith got banned from captaining Australia for 2 years. Steve Smith's crime, all he did was he witnessed something wrong happening and he didn't do anything about it. He didn't do anything about it. That was his only crime, and I think there's a very important lesson there. One, if you're a young person and a senior player wants to come and bully you into doing something that's unethical, don't be Cameron Bancroft and do it for the sake of making the person happy. In that moment, Cameron Bancroft's career as an Australian Test cricketer is all but over. Don't be the bully. And probably if you happen to be in the position of Steve Smith and you see something wrong happening, you have a choice to do nothing and allow it to go on. Stephen Smith, the consequence, the financial consequence alone, apart from not being captain for 2 years, not playing for a year, it cost him approximately 5 million Australian dollars in lost income in that 1 year alone, just because he didn't stop the wrong thing happening. In contrast, a brief story in one of my favorites. This is a photograph, and probably nobody would recognize this guy's name is Bobby Jones. In the late 1900s, he was playing in what at the time was the world's most prestigious golf tournament, the United States of American Open Golf Tournament. He was in the final round, and when he went to address the ball, he put his club down behind the ball. And because of putting the club down, it caused a piece of grass to move, and the ball moved ever so slightly. And when that happens, if you cause a ball to move when addressing it in golf, it counts as a stroke, counts as a shot. Bobby Jones stepped back and he said to the official on the course, he said, "I caused that ball to move." The official said, "I didn't see anything." He consulted with other officials, and the officials, none of them saw the ball move. It was so small, the movement of the ball. They did not see it. They spoke to spectators around. Nobody other than Bobby Jones saw that he caused the ball to move. And the match referees and officials said, "Well, it's up to you to make the decision because we cannot call a penalty on you." And Bobby Jones said, "I know I caused the ball to move. I call a penalty on myself." And he counted that as a shot. He went on that finals day, to lose the United States of American Open Golf Tournament by 1 stroke. And that was the stroke he called it himself. The reason I tell you the story is nearly, in fact, just over 100 years later, the highest award that any golfer can be awarded in the United States of America is the Bobby Jones Award for Sportsmanship. That one tiny move that he made is remembered and honored 100 years later. You too in your career will have the opportunity to sandpaper a cricket ball to get a short-term advantage. And the thing is, had Cameron Bancroft not been caught and it was successful and he sandpapered the ball and it reverse swung and they managed to get some South African batsmen out, the best case scenario was they might have won that test match. Not definitely, maybe. They would have got advantage in only 1 innings. So the advantage of doing the wrong thing is very short-lived. The consequence of being caught is very, very long-term. Ask Bancroft, Warner, or Steve Smith. In fact, Australian cricket suffered as a result. The advantage of doing the tiny thing right, just ask Bobby Jones, he's dead now, how long that lasts. To quote Albert Einstein, it's not very gender or politically correct with regards gender today, but it was I chose to leave this saying as he said it. Try and not become a man or a person is more relevant now of success, but rather try and become a person of value. So the second point I wanted to share today is as you move into the job market out there into the world, look to have the right value system that sets you up for long-term success. And just a little piece on that, there are values that serve yourself, like chasing success, materialism, power, status, acknowledgement. Those are all value systems, and they're very relevant value systems. Those are all very self-serving and will not get you nearly as far in the medium to long term and in life as a value system that serves other people or a cause greater than yourself ahead of yourself. If you use your strengths to add value to other people and to the world, success will naturally follow you in the medium to long term. There will also be a lot of choices and opportunities to serve yourself by doing the wrong thing, unethical thing in the short term. The choice will always be yours. And finally, a lot of people say to me, what was it like coaching Sachin Tendulkar? There's two things I wanted to briefly mention here. Number one, Sachin, in the time that I was with the Indian team from 2008 to 2011, he was in his 18th to his 21st year of international cricket. So he was a very senior person. He'd been around for a long time. There wasn't 1 week in that 3 years that I was with the team that any player hit more balls in the nets than Sachin Tendulkar. There wasn't any player who practiced with more purpose than Sachin Tendulkar. And yet, in his 18th to 21st year of international cricket, he was the one person, not in the Indian team, but in the world, who earned the right to take it a bit easy, to relax. But Sachin did not. He worked harder than anybody else. So it's small wonder when you put that amount of number one preparation, but not just hours and hours, very specific preparation, working on very specific things. It's no wonder he had a 23-year career at the top of the game. But the other piece that stands out, probably more important, and I'll finish with a story, is during the World Cup in 2011, the team was having a meeting and we decided to have an experience. There was a lot of young players in that team. As Sachin was in his 21st year then, and we created an opportunity where players were allowed to come into the team meeting, just players, the coaching staff there. Sachin took the seat in the front of the room, and we had the opportunity, which Sachin granted us, to ask him any question. And the idea was that we could tap into his learning, his experience, his knowledge, so it could hopefully spill over into the rest of the team, because we were true believers in learning and knowledge and constantly looking to get better as a key ingredient to being the best cricket team in the world. And obviously you folk are here because you're seeking to learn and grow. And someone said to Sachin, so what is the most significant moment in your career? Now, at the time, remember, we're talking about a career that had spanned 21 years in international cricket. And Sachin's answer took everybody, including me, by surprise. He said, it happened when I came home from my first test tour as a 16-year-old. And initially I thought to myself, well, obviously, playing test cricket for your country at 16, that's obviously that would be one of the highlights of your career. But Sachin said it wasn't playing for my country when I was 16 years old. It was when I came back to my Mumbai teammates, 16-year-old teammates. One of my best friends came to me and he said, Sachin, I'd like to speak openly and honest to you. Speak on behalf of all your friends. And Sachin told us the story. He said, yes, go ahead and speak freely. And his friend, as a 16-year-old boy, so it's another 16-year-old boy, said, Sachin, we all recognize you're a better cricketer than us. But since you've been playing for India, you're behaving as if you're a more important person than us. And we don't like that. And the message Sachin shared with us today, that still lives with me today, is that who I am as an athlete, my results in the field, my performance, is different to who I am as a human being. And too often, superstar athletes, they've got a great talent, or very wealthy people, or very intelligent people, they've got this gift from birth, and then because they're successful, they start behaving as an important person, someone more important than other people. And nobody likes that. And what Sachin shared that day, and what I want to share with you today, is no matter how successful you are, who you are being as a person is as important as to the success you're achieving in whatever field. And those are two different things. Work at being highly successful, but like Sachin, work at being a good human being. Because now more than ever, good human beings are going to go further than successful human beings who are not good people. So the third and final point I wanted to share with you today is, as you move forward in the world and you look to learn and work and grow and perform, and as you gain success, focus the whole time also on being a good human being, someone with good values, with good character, and success will naturally follow you into the short, medium, and long term. And on that note, I'd like to thank you very much for the opportunity of sharing just some of these stories with you this morning. And hopefully there's something that will add just a little bit of value to help you find and get on your A game going forwards from here.
Thanks very much, Paddy. It is an absolute pleasure to hear you talk about the three aspects that you mentioned, which are playing to strength, the value system, and the good person that you need to be, and the ethical way of working. I think our viewers today will be very, very happy to see that these are the three things that anyone in the workforce or a citizen needs to understand at a personal level and at a professional level. So thank you so much. And also, I love the way that you have actually contextualized it to the sport field. There's a lot one can learn from sport. We are now going to go on to the formal launch of the program. And we will just take the viewers very quickly through the program after this, before we get on to the Q&A, which will be run by Ash and then by Mark. So I now request our CEO of DeakinCo to formally launch the Professional Readiness Program.
Thanks, Ravneet, and thanks for that presentation, Paddy. Really fantastic. It's my pleasure now to formally launch the DeakinCo Professional Readiness Program.
Maybe we should to make sure that you understand what we are doing here. So participants, this is the program that we are launching today. The various areas of the program that we have are innovation, collaboration, data-driven marketing, digital literacy, financial literacy, customer experience, communication, and critical thinking. The key features of these programs are they are completely online, require about 6 hours of work. They are recognized in industry and are based on what the demand of the industry has been globally. I think that if you have any key questions that you want to ask, there is a list of FAQs. And we will share this website with you. There is also a payment opportunity for you to enroll into the program or a registration to get more information on the program. So thank you, Glenn, and thank you to the DeakinCo team and the team of Deakin South Asia to come to a point to formally launch this very exciting initiative. I'm going to ask Ash to now pick up the Q&A.
Thanks, Ravneet. Paddy, I'm going to throw the first question to you. During your incredibly insightful presentation, you gave some great advice on how individuals can amplify their strengths and professional brand. But outside of those skills, what other identifiable skills do players need to adopt, and how are these inculcated? Have we lost Paddy? Maybe. Look, perhaps we'll go back to Paddy, and Ravneet, I'm going to throw to you in that case because I can see you. Why do you think it's important to equip students with life skills as early as the higher secondary level?
Ash, because I think that, skills are not something that can be developed overnight. I think they get inculcated with you as people. And I think I would say even earlier that, you need to understand and contextualize what communication means. And at different levels, you need to communicate differently. So I think that the sooner you start to understand what life skills mean, the easier it is for you to be able to relate it in a different context as you go into the future of your life. Right? Say, for example, in a job scenario, right from an executive to the CEO, the context may be different. but the crux is the same, that you've got to be able to clearly communicate. Say if you pick up communication an example, and you've got to be able to really give out the message. So similarly, at the school level, you need to understand at your level, your communication skills are important enough for you to go the next step. And it's a differentiator as well. People who can communicate well and write well are people normally who go the next step further in their opportunities.
Fantastic answer. Thanks, Ravneet. Paddy, I'm going to throw back to you again. Outside of the skills that you articulated beautifully during your presentation, what other identifiable skills do you think players also need to adopt, and how do they inculcate them in their day-to-day business life? And I think you're on mute, sir.
There we go. Okay. What other skills do they need? So, I think what's really important is every one of us was born with some unique gifts, skills, and opportunities. So while it's important to go outward and learn as much, gain as much knowledge, gain as much experience, read books, study courses, gain the expertise from outside of us, from other people, it's also to go inward and go and learn about ourselves, about our unique makeup, our strengths, our brain preferences, our personalities. You know, if you look at really good leadership, any decent leadership course these days, the majority of the time is actually spent around self-mastery, self-awareness, and self-learning, because we are the instrument or the tool that will execute whatever job it is, be it on a sports field, a boardroom, or on a stage somewhere. We are the instruments of that performance, and it's important to fine-tune ourselves as that instrument. So for me, that just to use one word that's popularly used, is the skill of personal mastery or self-mastery is something that I would really recommend starting at a younger age. I certainly at the age of 18, 19, 20, if someone said that to me, I would let it go over my head. It's like, yeah, that's for other people, not for me. I've got more important things. But that's probably one of the most important assets that I've certainly come across working with athletes and people, is the more we know ourselves and master ourselves, the more it equips us then to use the knowledge and tools and experience we gain out there.
Great words of wisdom. Thank you very much. Glenn, over to you. How do we go about building capability of the workforce beyond traditional methods of learning?
Yeah, we actually do this all the time. And I think what's happened is that over time, and particularly at the moment, we place so much emphasis on that formal level of education from high school into universities. And while that's important, it's not everything. We learn in every part of our life. We learn when we're at home, we learn at sport, we learn in social environments, and we learn when we're also on the job. And it's those types of experiences that are really, really important. And particularly when we look at technical skills and we look at human-centered skills, which is what our program is focusing in on, around collaboration, communication, they're skills that you certainly learn, but the biggest part of how you learn those skills is through practice. And for business, this is really important, because even when it comes to things like communication, there's a difference between the way you communicate at home with your friends and the way you communicate in business. And it's similar with things like even digital literacy. But it's that experience in those types of things that actually complement and make your technical skills even better, because technical skills will only take you so far. And increasingly, if others have better human skills, those things like digital literacy, data-driven marketing, or customer experience, and all else is equal, they will get the job above you. So that's the sort of ways that we can go around this. We learn in different environments. We don't have to have that. We don't have to rely solely on the traditional model. It's still important, but equally important is those life experience and work experiences.
That's a great, great answer, and really encompasses the ways in which those employability skills, human skills, soft skills, however we name them, really are incredibly important. In fact, I can't help but reflect that a Deloitte Access Economics report that Deakin University worked on with Deloitte showed that you can get a 10 percentage point increase in your wage if you actually can show superior skills within these types of employability skills. So the evidence is in the proof of the pudding. You know, increase your skill sets in these types of areas and you can actually earn significantly more once you hit the marketplace. So I'm going to ask each of the panellists the same question, perhaps starting with Ravneet, then moving to Paddy and concluding with Glenn. And the overarching question is, are life skills as important as knowledge? Ravneet.
I think they are, in my view, I think they are even more important. And I think that they make you the person you are, you know, and like they always say that, you know, your being actually is who you are. Knowledge can be acquired, and you know, it can be shared. And these days, on a click of a button, you know, you can get a lot of content. So how do you process content into real knowledge that you can use is important, and how you can enhance yourself with your innate capability. You know, whether, see, like, I think like Paddy or Glenn said, that everyone has some sense of capability. It's a question of how you hone your skills to be able to get the best out of yourself. And I can tell you with my personal experience, myself, when I feel that my strengths as a person have played up to my professional success. Knowledge, yes, is important, and you can gain that over a period of time. It comes with degrees, it comes with, you know, your studying and your experience. But what you become as a person, because of the life skills or the employability skills, I think they stay with you for life and take you places. So to the students that are listening, I would say that you must invest in enhancing your capability as a person through the life skills that have been indicated in this list that we have shared with you.
Great answer. Thank you, Ravneet. Paddy, do you think life skills are as important as knowledge?
I'm going to question the word think, and I'm just going to be a little bit stronger and say, I'm going to go so far as to say, I'm almost certain that I know life skills today are more valuable than knowledge. And I'll illustrate it with a very simple example. So one of the best and T20 cricketers in the world. He's hit more sixes than anybody else in T20 cricket. He's played more teams for a guy by the name of Chris Gale. He played for Bangalore Royal Challengers for a number of years. He scored more runs in all three formats for the West Indian cricket team than anybody else. He's played in more teams. He's one of the wealthiest cricketers around the world, one of the most well-known. In the last 3 years, he's been effectively banned from playing in the Australian Big Bash League. He has been released from at least 4 cricket teams around the world, and these are just T20 club teams. And by his own admission, he said in the media, he said, Chris Gale is not respected. The owners don't respect me. My fellow players don't respect me. Opponents don't respect me. Coaches don't respect me. Management don't respect me. So, and he's quite correct that he doesn't have that level of respect. He's been kicked out of all those tournaments because of the way he manages himself as a human being. It's got nothing to do with his skills or his technique at all. Who he is as a person is being called into question. And more going forward, we see it in the political arena all around the world as a great example. How many people are engaging in bribery and corruption in unethical practices, which is a function of their life skills. They think it's okay to do that. In business, we see enough examples. The world is where it is. One of the problems we have is that people have achieved significant material success with unethical behavior. We are going to find, and particularly it's being caught out and they're being frowned upon, moving forward out of this COVID period where the entire world is being asked to review its value systems and how sustainably are we operating within society. It's going to be more frowned upon to not have those sustainable life skills. People like Chris Gales has said already in the cricket world is saying, as good as you are, we don't want that in our team. There's something else that we want. And it's going to become more important going forwards now. And I just really encourage people, go and learn as much as you can, get ahead of the curve in terms of your knowledge and your experience. Be a sponge around learning, but it is going to fall flat if you don't have strong life skills as the foundation of your life and who you are as a person.
Wow, really powerful, evocative examples. Thank you very much, Paddy. That was great. Glenn, last but most certainly not least, what's your take on workforce skills?
Look, in many ways, I want to say they're equally important, but we actually do learn more from our experience. Because it's the experiences that we gain that put the knowledge into context. And without that context for knowledge, for any career, it's not enough. There's a philosophy that we abide by at DeakinCo, which is called the 70-20-10 philosophy. And it actually means that we learn 70% of what we know through experience. And the other two elements are through different forms of learning. And I'm not taking away from a university degree by all means. It's an intensive time of study and learning and growth, but it's only one part. It's, an undergraduate degree is 3, 4, 5 years of our time, and our life is much bigger than that. So from that perspective, I'd say it's more important, but it's important to have both and to continually have both.
Fabulous. Thank you. That's a great answer. Mark, I believe I'm passing the baton to you.
Thank you very much, Ash. And if you bear with me, there is a slight delay with my video. There we go. Okay, thank you. Very interesting discussion all. We've had a group of questions put through in the Q&A as the presentation has gone forward. There are a few that are generic. It sounds like Ravneet Deakin University has some potential students out there. Various people have asked about our Bachelor of Sports Management, and additionally, what sort of courses do we have in psychology, economics, design, political science, nursing, etc. So for anyone who is listening, I encourage you to give a call or send an email through to the Deakin University office, and they'll be more than happy to engage you in those areas. Some of the more specific questions, well, also Ravneet Prisha asked whether there were scholarships open for Indian students, and I know that there are merit scholarships and others. So again, anybody who's interested in that space, please make contact with the Deakin Uni office in Delhi. Shivani has asked an interesting question. Does being successful mean being unique, or is it being the best that matters? And what does stand out really mean? So I'd throw that out there to the panel if any of you have any views.
I think just to briefly, by really bringing our uniqueness and our unique strengths and skills to bear, has the best possible chance of translating to success. We need to, as I said to my first point, be playing to our strengths, which is also our uniqueness and gives us the best possible chance. It doesn't guarantee it. We need to put in the learning, we need to put in the preparation, we need to put in the planning, we need to put in the smarts. Sachin Tendulkar was born with an amazing talent, but as I mentioned, he really did everything he could to convert that talent into performance, which led to success. So yes, find your uniqueness, but then really sharpen that tool, because that is going to be your best tool to be able to deliver the kind of success you'll be looking for in life.
Sorry, can I just say that, thanks, Patty. Mark, just going back to your question on the students that are interested in Deakin, can I just say that I think my colleague has put this email down, southasia@deakin.edu.au. If you want to write to us with your specific queries on the various Deakin programs, we can definitely help you with it. And we do have scholarships and bursaries for students that want to study bachelor's or master's level degree programs at Deakin University. Sorry, over to you, Mark.
Thanks, Ravneet. Thanks, Patty. Ash, Glenn, will we carry on to the next question?
Yep.
Yep. Let's see. This is actually a cricket one for you, Patty. Clearly, from Suresh. How do you prepare yourself for an IPL match, given the intensity, the importance, the heightened importance of the competition, the IPL competition in India and globally? How does one prepare for an IPL match?
So, good question. Everyone we compete against, both in our team, the other team, and all the other 8 IPL teams, it's the players who on the team that has got his own mind most focused on the job at hand and the most confident and the most clear, who've got the best possible chance of winning. Because on any given day, there is enough skill in both teams to be able to score more runs and take more wickets than the other teams. So it really boils down to the execution in the moment. And getting the execution in the moment is actually a very simple equation. It's the same as writing an exam at university or at school. The person who has studied the whole book for the exam, who has prepared the best, walks in with the most confidence and the clearest mind, compared to the people who walk in who they've cribbed, they've cut corners, they've spotted, they haven't prepared fully for that exam. They walk in with some hope, with some doubt, with a little bit of anxiety, and none of those things set you up with the best possible chance of success. So an IPL team or anything else that's important in your life, if you want to have the best possible chance of success, like the teams I coach, we need to make sure that each individual has studied the whole book for the exam. There are no shortcuts.
Indeed, very moot point, Patty. Thank you. From Pulak, and this perhaps applicable to Ash and to Glenn, Pulak would like to know how our programs, our short course program offering, differ from others available on platforms such as Udemy, Udacity, Coursera, etc., etc.
Great question. Glenn?
Yeah, so our courses are more in-depth than what you'll find on those platforms. What happens with a lot of the courses that are on the free open course platforms is that they are very much light touch, and they're designed to entice you to enroll in their other programs. What we've done is to break it down further and say, let's actually focus in on what's the most important thing that you can apply in your life, and particularly around your work experience and work life. So what we've done is to use the academic structure underneath that, but focus it around not about sitting for an exam or sitting for a test, but using that theory to apply. What you have is in the likes of Udemy and edX, are things that are on either one of the two spectrums. They're either about experiences only without the context of knowledge, or they're about knowledge without the context of experience. And so we've brought those two elements together for you.
I'd also add that one of the things that makes our courses stand out is that they've been built very much in alignment with industry experts. So a recognition of the skill sets that you need when you first start out, and how to then progressively build and scaffold those skills in order to be able to use them effectively in the workforce.
Terrific. Thanks very much, guys. From Arian, would like to know whether the short course offerings that DeakinCo, Deakin University have would help if he was moving into either a family business or a multinational. So a choice there. Certainly, I can see the benefits moving into a multinational, but into a family business, what skills, what additional skills and capabilities could one hope to get?
Without knowing the family business, I can't go into too much specifics, but what I would say is that in any business, you're going to be coming into contact with other people. You're going to be providing a service. So customer service is definitely important. You're going to have to work with your family, but in a business context, and you're going to have other employees probably. So again, that element around how do you communicate within your family as it relates to a business, not as it relates to a family. It's a really, that's a really difficult and hard experience to have, and getting that right. You need to communicate well with your staff as well. So they're both important. You're going to find that your family business will need to have some form of digital presence. So digital literacy also comes to the fore. They're just three. You want to know how to do marketing in your family business. So, you know, I could go on, but in a family business, they're just as important, if not more important than a multinational, because in the family business, you need to know all of them. In the multinational, you don't.
Okay, thank you both. Kamal would like to hear the panel's views on whether it's worthwhile getting a second language and whether we have short course offerings in languages. So I'll throw that to Glenn and to Ash.
No, we don't have courses in second languages. Look, personally, I think that having a second or third language, as many of you do, is incredibly important if you want to be a global citizen. But we concentrate on what we're really, really good at, and that's the employability skills and some technical skills like data-driven or digital marketing or digital literacy. We want to help you in the areas that we're real experts and that we have extremely sound knowledge and background.
Thanks, Ash. Manish asks, why are soft skills more important than hard skills for success? I think we've covered some of that in some of the event thus far, but again, if anyone's got some additional points they'd like to make, why are soft skills more important than hard skills? Are they in fact more important or just complementary?
I'll talk about that in two ways. One, when we look at the way that technology disrupts the work environment and processes and tasks, or even looking at a programming language, if I go into IT, program languages come and go, but the ability to translate what you're doing in programming to someone that is not a programmer is critical. Also, as we have to adapt to new technology, the ability to be able to solve problems or think critically, they remain important. So that's why we say that they're more important. You need both, but the soft skills are the ones that are going to keep you in really good stead, irrespective of technology. Another way to look at this is if you went into two stores and both stores had great technical knowledge of their products, but one of the shop assistants was rude and the other one was pleasant and helpful to you, which one did you see was better? That's what soft skills are about.
Yeah, and I'd really concur there with Glenn, is that, you know, this day and age, with the internet and the availability of skills, services, products, there's a lot of really good stuff out there. But people like doing business with people they like. And to be likable is a soft skill. And I really don't like the term hard skills and soft skills. I think the traditional hard skills are actually easy skills to learn. And I think the traditional soft skills are actually the hard skills. So for me, it's easy skills and the hard skills are the people skills, but those are the ones that give you the edge over other teams. And certainly in a cricket context, very often I've been involved with teams that we're not quite as talented as the other team, but we work better as a team. So, and by working better as a team, we know we can beat teams that have got significantly better players and higher paid players who are a bunch of superstars and individuals not working well as a team. And teamwork is a soft skill, which I'd just like to rebrand as a hard skill. So yes, really encourage that. It will give you a jump on a lot of people.
Can I say that, you know, for me, I think it is about life skills. And when you relate that to employability, which is the context that we are talking about today, as an employer, I think that if I have interviewed two people, and if both are equally qualified in terms of knowledge, you know, or similarly qualified, I would say, definitely the personality and the skills of the person, you know, overall plays a very, very important role. So that's one side of things, which I think where, you know, you start talking about teamwork, communication. I mean, I'll give you an example in the Indian context that we have, you know, the top institutions, IITs. And initially when we started our program from India, we had the best students coming to Deakin, but they didn't have the skills to be able to deal with multicultural approach or teamwork or communication. And they actually lost out a lot in an international global platform. So I think that skills become extremely important for success, whether it is at your work, whether it is in your school, your college, but who you are and what you, you know, sort of exhibit are equally important than the knowledge up in your brain, I think, and they have to go hand in hand.
Thanks, Ravneet. This might be another one for you as well, Ravneet, a chance to give a pitch for a great university. How can Deakin University be useful for a school student in India?
Well, through this program, we don't offer anything at the school level other than this readiness program. We do offer programs at the undergraduate level and at the postgraduate level at Deakin University and through some of our partner institutions here, but nothing at the school level because we are a higher education provider in Australia, and we only start formal programs from undergraduate. But the DeakinCo program, Mark, if you don't mind, I might take a couple of minutes just to make sure that our students understand and get a highlight of the programs. I'm sure they will go onto the website and have a read through it, but I still want to make sure that they understand what we are offering. Since I can see a lot of questions about what the program is. My colleague Vaibhav has been responding, but if you don't mind, I might take a couple of minutes just to highlight the programs and the next steps for them to go from here.
Absolutely.
So,
yeah, absolutely.
Thanks. We have two levels of programs. The first level is for students who are in grade 11 and 12. Now, if you are in grade 11 and 12, you can pick up from 6 subjects, any 4 subjects, right? The 6 subjects are fundamentals of communication, principles of financial literacy, digital fundamentals in a connected world, fundamentals of teamwork, fundamentals of customer service, and insights in data-driven marketing. These are 6 subjects. Of this, you can pick up any 4 for the Professional Readiness Program. What you will get with that is digital badging from DeakinCo, certification of achievement, master classes on futuristic jobs and skills in the industry, and developing of a professional profile. All of this is at rupees 13,000 in Indian rupees, and each subject is individually also available at 3,250, which is our introductory pricing. As you can see, friends, this pricing is very, very Indian centric and very, very competitive and comparable to Indian paying capacity. This is also relevant for students who are in their first year, second year, or third year of their college. And you can get all additional information here. The website is now launched. You can actually go into the detail of the program and you can go onto the link and you can actually enroll after the session. The second area is for students who are at the postgraduate level. These are students who are in their first year or second year of the post-graduation. And the areas of The programs are from logic to critical thinking, fostering innovation in your team, participating in digital age, developing data-driven marketing campaigns, managing income and expenditure budgeting, and effective team collaboration. As you can see that these are all very critical areas in the workforce. And you have to pick up a cluster of 4 to get the certification of achievement. The cost for these are rupees 3,750, and the cluster of 4 is for 15,000 Indian rupees. This is an introductory price. So I'll leave you to this, and I think if you have any more questions, if you have any specific information that you want, you can either go onto the website and send us an email on the DeakinCo website mentioned here. What's the website, David? openlearning.com/DeakinCo India. Okay, this is the website and the email address. If you have specific email that you want to send to us, you can send the information through the website, contact details. There is a landing page where you have to leave your contact details. So we will get in touch with you thereon. Over to you, Mark, to wind up, I think, in conclusion, unless there are any more specific questions.
I think we've exhausted most of them. There are a couple of earlier generic questions around timing and so forth. Basically, the courses are available 24/7, 365 days of the year. So they are available around the clock. They are at a self-paced methodology, so you can undertake the study whenever you wish to. So they're entirely flexible. Beyond that, I thank you all for your participation. I especially thank the panelists. I thank Ravneet and the Deakin South Asia team for pulling all this together. It's been a mighty effort and we are greatly appreciative of it. We're particularly appreciative of Paddy joining us with the insights from a very experienced a gentleman from the sports sector. Glenn and Ash, thank you for your participation as well. And again, if there are questions that you've got that haven't been answered tonight, or you have follow-up questions, please do feel free to contact the Delhi South Asia office, and Ravneet's team will be more than happy to assist. So, anybody else would like to sign off from the panel?
That's great. Thank you so much, Mark. And I do want to thank Paddy in particular. I remember, Paddy, when we first met, and I was really impressed with your styles of leadership. And what you talked about at that time was how different IPL teams have people from all over the world, but ultimately they do come together and they play for the team that they have to build themselves into. And the styles of leadership are cultural, have different contexts, but it works together because people form a team and have aligned thinking. So I think those are the kind of skills that we all in today's world need to enhance. And also I think with the pandemic, it's important to be more resilient, especially the younger generation. I mean, I have a 23-year-old as well, but sitting at home is not easy in times like this. So resilience is a very important skill or an attribute that all of us need to have in these difficult times. And I think that these programs, since they're completely online, they make you use your time to the betterment and get international qualification while you're in the comfort of your home. So with that, I'd like to thank everyone today and look forward to working more closely, innovating product and moving on. Thank you.